You feel me? And how they have to look at it. They have to not take it as personal. They have to look at it like, that's not your brother, that's not your son, you know, whatever your son is. You know, they just have to listen because they got to go to another call. Yes, sir. They don't do it. I understand. The harsh reality is but family reunion. That's the coping mechanism.
Yeah. So we got other ones though. You know what I'm saying? So he and I play a couple ways. So that's a way for us to express ourselves. He keeps moving. That's another way for him to help us through our, you know, indifference and all that good stuff. You know, and we got so many other avenues, and that's what we're trying to put out there.
And
so,
you got a martial arts class too?
Yeah, so we study under an instructor.
Okay.
And so she's
Capoeira is a martial art.
Awesome female. She's so dope.
Really?
She's super awesome. You know,
right?
intelligent,
oh, man, I'm
brilliant.
We started out walking the streets, partnering up doing Detroit 300 10 years ago. And ever since I lost my son, I mean, a lot of people have come to support me, but he hasn't left. Okay? And so without Mark, a lot of this wouldn't happen. So that and Sheila, of course, inspired me to walk. That's Sheila, and me and her grew up together in 300. So we're going to let Martin start Commissioner Jones. I got to get used to that. I call him Brother Mark, Dr. Mark. He got the right name.
He answered it all above.
And so we're going to let him start us off with the prayer. So we're going to tie up everybody's day today. Okay?
All right. You know, bow our heads and whatever. Merciful God, in the name of Jesus, Father God, we just thank and praise your holy name this day. Lord, it's a beautiful day. Father God, you relax the heat a little bit so we can come together and be comfortable, Father God. You sent people here to this organization, Father, so that they might be uplifted, Father God, so they might get the help that they need. Help us bring you, Father God. Help us to investigate you, Father God. Just come. Father God, we thank and praise your holy name for the first minister department, Captain May, who's come out, Father God, to give up his time to see what he can do to help the people in the community that he serves. Father God, we thank you for Tammy Denise Ringo, Father God. We thank you for her spirit that she wants to turn around and move forward and do something about this violence that's taking place in our community. She wants to do something about it. She wants to stand up. She wants to step up. Lord Jesus, we have a 2-year-old that lost his life in our community. Father God, just a couple of days ago, Lord Jesus. Something that shouldn't ever happen, that we should not ever happen with us, but people are coming together to try to do something about it, Father God. We know that that one that did this right now was temporarily escaped justice, Father God, but you'll never escape your justice, Lord Jesus. You will never forget. Your memory is long, Father God, and he's going to have to deal with this thing either one way, or he's going to have to deal with this thing other way. Father, we want to get about the man's blood. Yeah. Father God, make him an example of people that they won't go out and do the same thing because they're mad at somebody and they want to retaliate. But then they take the life of our children, of our women, of our brothers that are innocent, Lord Jesus. That are innocent, Lord Jesus. We just need to see this thing stop now. Father God, we pray for all of the leadership from our city to our county, to our state, to our country, to this world, Father God. Let the decisions that they make be deeply rooted in you and deeply rooted in your word, Father God. So we can try to bring this into all those things that are happening all around this world. But we're especially concerned about the community that we live in, Father God. I ask you to empower, I ask you to embrace, I ask you to embolden, Father God, all those who dare step up and step out and try to do something about this thing that's so crazy, Father God. We just need to see it. I ask you, Lord Jesus, in your holy praise. Bless everybody. Bless all those who show up here today. Bless all those who listen to us and have a review that plan to believe that they're not here now. They're not surprised about it. We ask you to do that. All these things I thank you for. All these things I love you for. In my name is Lord Christ, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Before we were out on 7 Mile passing out flyers about our children. So y'all got to know it's never ends. It's 24/7. We breathe, we get up, but we get up thinking, how can we get justice for our sons and our children? It's something I don't want. If you never experience it, I thank God if you never experience it. This young lady I met, she came out a soldier, and that's what us parents we are. God give us this extra spirit. That's how we carried John. Because that was a miracle for 9 months. And I always say, you know, we connected, my children, we connected through our blood, through our heart, through every organ in our system. So once they're taken out, they're still a part of our system. So that's what this is all about, everybody. It's not, we lost our children, but they're part of our system, and we have to get justice. And we want to thank the officer or detective. I mean, seriously, I commend you. You have not missed one walk. And a lot of times, even though we're greedy, we can't blame them because they overwork right now. I've never seen a crisis in Detroit. I know it's across the country, but in Detroit, 2-year-olds getting killed. I mean, really? So y'all are overworked. So what we have to do is bridge the community with the police officers. We need to help them so they can help us. And that's what Walk for Justice is about. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. But we're going to be your collaborator. We're going to help you. Y'all can't do it all. If you give us a list, us mothers and families, we can come out some days and call the families for you. Just to let them know. Because sometimes all the family want to know is y'all thinking of it. You ain't forgot.
That's right. And I know
That's
that.
all. So if you need a volunteer, I'm a volunteer. Be a volunteer. Give us a list. Y'all are overworked. Okay? So we with you. And anybody else wants, oh yeah, my nephew. Oh, like I said, it's in his blood. He's a first responder. Let's give him a hand, because what you do, see, we got to remember, they walk up on that scene. We hear about it on the news, but they have to go to it. And God has to give them an extra, because y'all got to see it. Okay?
Then they get to see it again the next day.
And they got to see it over and over and over and over. Okay, so we support y'all. And we're going to do whatever we can. We're going to grow this movement. Your movement is going to be a part of our movement because we all together. Do you want to say anything about your plan, son?
I mean, it's too much, but you know, it's a counteract to what this is. So all we're about is pretty much the same thing. We try to combat community deterioration and juvenile delinquency. So we just got our own way of doing it. We're the next generation. She got to pass the baton at some point. So this group right here is the group that's picking up that baton.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got farmers, we've got movement specialists, we practice martial arts in the form of capoeira. All of us together as a unit, we've created a family of our own. So we're going to help clean up the streets of Detroit and then clean up other streets later. We're trying to build things, we're trying to buy things, we're trying to get everybody involved and help those, you know. So we tend to think that we're decent young adults, right? So we're going to teach the next group how to be better than what we are. And that comes to some form of discipline. Sports, martial arts, you know, schooling. It's not just about basketball, it's not just about basketball. It's about everything, right? I'm trying to figure out how to plant and grow my own vegetables. So everything I consume, I create. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we're done as this.
We're wrong, hey, that's what we're trying to do.
So we appreciate you. Yeah. We want to be collaborators with you. Anything that's inspiring, it's a good thing when you can change the mindset. Because we can't just change this criminal thing with just talking. We have to teach them young and change that mindset. Yes. I worked with at-risk boys for over 5 years. I brought one home with me at 18. He stayed for 10 years. I've been out here a long time doing this. This young man is out here, I told you today, he's just going into what grade? See, we're influencing that. So when it's time for him to get in action, he's already participating in community service by coming out here today. So I want to make sure he gets a level. So they know you're already acting. Anybody else want to get over here? This is the hardest working brother in Detroit. He's one of them. If you ever see something going on, they're first. They're always there. I know you don't get it tonight. You're 2-year-old.
At his house?
No, on 7 Mile Here, I got small 75. Did they have it for the tree?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Mr. Sebastian, Mr. Sebastian, and the CPD, I think they're with them as well. So that's
We are next week. We're gonna do a big press conference, bringing all of that together, all of us,
okay.
right? And then we wanna. My vision, I don't know if it's gonna happen. We wanna do a.
It's probably too far.
We wanna do a big march, probably down 7 Mile. We don't know exactly where, but all of us. You know, Martin, now we're in 4 different communities. You're a part of that sport. We're gonna bring all those communities together on next Friday. As opposed to marching to 4 different concurrent communities, or marching to 4 different communities concurrently, we're going to march as one
Okay.
to speak out against and demonstrate and protest against baby killers. Because right now, Detroit, I would argue, half the data substantiate this, has to be one of the nation's leaders of babies being shot and killed. Even in Chicago, where they killed dozens of other black folks on the weekend, you're going to hear a whole bunch about baby killers. That's because they don't do a whole lot of drive-bys in the way that we do it. You know, they take pride in killing their opposition so they get out the car. That's wrong too, for sure. But what we oppose to definitely is shooting in the houses and shooting in the cars where you know there may be children. If you have war, I understand that. When the blood in the streets and your family gone, that's a lot of work to try to switch and manage those emotions. So we got work to do there. But at least, if you have war, you don't go take the lives of innocent people, especially innocent children. So we got to figure out a way to mitigate that while we're also working concurrently to address the overall violence. Because if you have violence, period, and black men aren't taught how to effectively manage conflict, you're going to wind up having innocents get killed every time. So the reality is we need to stop the violence altogether, especially the gun violence. That's number one. But until we can do that, we have to figure out a way to at least save the innocent and the babies, right? So it's a complex strategy. Together, we can figure this thing out. Yes, ma'am. I'll let Mama Bernice know and Brother Martin know, and they'll communicate it to the rest of the team. Yes, ma'am.
Make sure y'all put it out there on Facebook. Yeah, put it on the book. Put it on there. Tonight, the walk is at 9:40. At the edges of the freeway, and they actually bring cameras.
And that's roughly about the time that the incident took place.
At 9:45, Brother Martin said, okay.
At 9:40. We say 9:40. 6 miles to 975.
6 Mile Lot 75. You'll be able to see where everybody's at
Yeah,
once
you
you
can see
get
where
there.
everybody is.
Yeah.
That's right by my house. Yeah, they come up on 6 miles, so they're going to be right there. I work with Minister Sebastian. He's been helping me with my son. My son was hit and killed by a hit-and-run driver at the beginning of the pandemic. On March the 17th, he was killed. He was 27 years old. He was walking to the store to get some cigarettes. They killed me. They hit my baby and just left him in the street. And he was killed. So I've been going out. I've been doing fundraisers. I put a billboard. I actually have a billboard up currently, right there on the corner of DeQuinta and Nevada. It's my billboard. It's been up since April. So I'm trying to keep it up as long as I possibly can. And I put it in other different places as well. But I also come out and help other people, other mothers that have lost their children, whether they was killed or whatever. That's how I met Miss Bernice. I came out with Minister Sebastian, told me everything about her, passing flyers, and I came and that's how I met her. I'm just happy to be here working and getting with you guys and do what I can do my part.
You know what I absolutely love is the demonstration that the brother is showing, the demonstration that the family Ringo, Bernice Ringo, is showing, as well as a number of other mothers that I've worked with in the community that lost family members. They didn't just take it and decide to go sit down someplace, not speak up, not speak out. They had billboards, they had flyers printed up, they had Crime Stoppers flyers printed, distributed. They took over street corners, intersections. People driving by in cars, they're passing it by. I've done work with mothers like this over and over again. Not all of the mothers were successful in their efforts, but they were 100% successful in an effort to try to find out who did this to their family members. This is something that's very important in our community because people need to know that, all right, I'm hurting, I'm grieving. I just ask if you saw something, say something. The days of hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil are all gone. That's done. People didn't want to get involved because they said, well, I don't want to testify. I don't want to be a witness. But with Crime Stoppers, you don't have to testify. You don't have to be that witness. You can just say what you know. Number 1-800-SPEAK-UP. 1-800-SPEAK-UP. I broadcast that many times. And there have been many tips that have come in throughout the number, and there's been a lot of campaigns. A lot of campaigns with the fire. A lot of campaigns with Samuel Benice Ringo, where people called in tips. And we've gotten some cases off. This is people that's sitting down serving a lot of time because of the actions that they committed that they thought that they were going to get away from. But because somebody spoke up, because somebody called that number or called the police. We got people that will call the police and will give them the information correctly. Yeah, I know who did it. I heard who did it. And they'll give information. And that's what we need in our community. Sitting back in silence is to be complicit with the actions that took place. We can't be complicit anymore. We got to get out. We got to talk about it. We got to get out there. We got to stand up. We got to speak up. And there's a protection that's going to be afforded to you by doing it. It used to be a thing where if anybody wanted to say anything, that somebody was going to come at it. Maybe it still does happen sometimes. But the next person that something happens to may be you. You may be the very next person that's out there, your family member may be the very next person that's out there asking for help. Somebody sees something. Please help me. And in those cases, they want the FBI, CIA, DPD, Wayne County Sheriff. They want everybody to come out because they have a situation now. But we need to pay it forward in our community, change the culture of violence that's in our community, so that way people realize that, hey, if I do this, somebody's going to tell on me. I don't want to arrest you. I want to change your mind before you go out and do something stupid. I don't want to arrest you. Unless it's just too late and you went and did something stupid first. Under those circumstances, yes, you got it coming. And we got a space for you. And we will accommodate you also. But what we want...
Bike tire.
But what we want is we want to turn around and reach you before something happens. You're right. Because the ripple effect that goes through these families, you cannot measure the pain. You cannot measure what the mother goes through on a daily basis. You can't measure. Okay? So people, let's be vigilant. Let's think about this thing. Let's spread these messages to your co-workers, to your family, to your friends or whatever. Let's spread these messages. We have to get involved. We have to speak up. You know?
My son also left a daughter. His daughter had recently turned a year. He was killed on March the 17th. He would have been 28 on April the 17th, and his daughter turned a year on May the 17th. So right there, them 3 months are really traumatic.
And I didn't even speak about
This
the
is my
children.
daughter. She's been coming out. She might die hard. I had 4 boys. She here with me. No matter where I go, if I say I'm going and doing something or help somebody, if she's not working, I'm not working, she's there.
And our children need to see us involved. Our children need to see us acting. They need to see us volunteering. They need to see us giving clothes to somebody at home. They need to see us giving food to somebody. You know, it instills something in them. I know Ms. Ringer was telling me about her son. How her son came out and to events where she adopted a child that came home with her. She did other things, and her children were able to see her doing things like this. How much more value does that have in your family when your children see you giving up your heart, your soul, your mind, and yourself to somebody that you don't even know? Something that we all have done many times before. But we need to make that a culture. We need to make it a habit. We need to make it something that's expected to happen. Not expecting for somebody to just turn away in your time of need and they don't know you anymore. All right? So please, we definitely want to thank you for coming out. And Brenda might have some more things to say. But we thank everybody for coming out. We thank you for the support. This is something that's important to her. This is something that's important to this mother. It's important to homicide. It's important to our other community activists and whatnot. These things are important because we are not getting paid to do this. We just want to be a part of trying to save our community, save our young black men, our young black women that are disappearing on a daily basis, whose faces you see on Facebook. I share it all the time, just in case I look up and I see somebody, because I have seen somebody before. I did call the police when I saw them. They were on the news that night, and the police called me back and said, guess what? She went back home. All right? It's a matter of keeping your eyes open.
And we cannot normalize the death of our people. We cannot normalize it. We should be outraged every single time one of our people get killed.
Yes.
And this is how babies get killed. Because we accept Luke being killed. We accept Stephen being killed. And this is why we got 2-year-olds being killed. Because we didn't speak up loud enough. We weren't aggressive and progressive enough, and proactive enough, and reactive enough when Stephen got killed, when Luke got killed. It's only a matter of time before they kill the babies. It's only a matter of time before they start shooting the elders. This is what happens. It deteriorates. It gets worse. We have got to be outraged every time black blood is flowing in the streets. Whether they're innocent or not, it is not acceptable to resolve conflict because somebody shoot at you. I know it's hard, but you ain't got to shoot back. We have got to figure out other ways to deal with our issues, and guess what? We see it before it happens. Many of us, we know that our nephew was a fool. We know that our brothers was crazy. We knew that our uncle had the potential to go kill somebody, but we didn't intervene then. We saw the signs. We know the triggers. We see it in our household, but we keep walking past it. We just say, boys will be boys. No, boys don't have to conduct themselves like that. When we see it in our home, when we see it in our babies and young brothers, we shot at the officer over on 6 Mile, Hakeem Littleton. He was in middle school. I knew his teachers. He was beating up children who were learning disabled in middle school. He was killing animals in elementary school. Okay? He was being developed and trained at a young age. Adults saw him, but boys will be boys. And they gave him a pass, and they didn't intervene. And they didn't stop it then. We've got to see these signs early in our children and be aggressive about fixing it. It is not okay for your son to be hitting on you, mama. It ain't okay for your 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old to be beating up other kids in the family. That ain't okay. We got to stop it early. And it starts with how we talk to each other. Vulgarity, profanity is violent. Change our tone. Change our speech. We have to use loving words. What is a nigga? That's a name created by your oppressor. It ain't acceptable. That's a violent word. What is a bitch? That's a female dog assigned to women, primarily black women. It ain't acceptable. That's a violent word. We got to change our speech, and we got to catch our babies early. That is how you fix the violence. You got to quit walking past this stuff and overlooking this stuff and say boys will be boys. No. We got to do something different right now. We owe it to Stephen. We owe it to Luke. We owe it to that 2-year-old to do something different right now.
Well, I'm going to finish it. Thank you, Brother Safari. And next week, and just like Brother Safari, Brother Martin, I met them when I went out to do 300. And there was violence going on. I got involved.
Always.
And then I helped other parents that lost their children.
Yes, ma'am.
Not knowing it would ever hit my home, and it did. Luke was in Kentucky State, begged me to let him come home because he was a mama's boy. I should have left him in Frankfurt instead of ever letting him come back to Detroit, because Detroit ain't the same Detroit I grew up in. And I did not want him here. I shipped him and his brother off, and he begged me to let him come back. And it wasn't because Luke had a huge family. They was all out here. And my mother won't care about him. He's loyal. He's my brother. I'm loyal. I know what you do. I'm loyal because you're my family. But anyway, I can go on about Luke forever. He was my partner. I used to have him out with me. He fed the homeless. He's clothed the homeless. I got bags at home right now that he packed up to give to the homeless. I haven't gave them away yet because I can't park with them, but they're in a duffel bag. He said, Mom, when you go back out, get these t-shirts and this stuff out. Nice. Luke, I introduced him to everybody. NAACP, Benny Napoleon was his mentor. And one day, Sheriff Napoleon told him, you're going to take my job. And I lost. He didn't end with Luke at 4.
That's right.
At 14,
That's right.
he became sheriff and said, I want Luke to be sheriff for the day.
That's right.
So Luke went over there, stood behind him. He always gave him a huge presentation. Wayne County would treat him like And Benny said, when I retire one day, and that was my only hope, to go to Kentucky State, graduate, and come back home and make a difference in Detroit. That's all I wanted. And the enemy, they're around, and they're influencing our family. We got to learn to discern, because I'm grown. Sometimes I don't even know what's right and wrong. I done learned to cut my circle. We learned, and he was 23. So anyway, London been knowing him since junior high. That's his first girlfriend. And she done graduated college. He this kind of guy. You go on and finish. Don't get caught up on me right now. You get that education. You see that dude? That's how he would be like, yeah, we don't, you go on and finish. So we gonna do this walk. We gonna continue. I'm gonna let everybody know about next month, and we're gonna start fundraising. Because whatever we raise, we want y'all to build that garden. We want you to teach them that mind, body, and spirit, that transformation starts within. And that's what y'all job. It's a role for everybody. So we got y'all. We gonna help y'all get that garden. Include Brother Martin, who knows every doggone body in the city. Being captain, you got us to walk with Justice to come over, meet with you and the chief one day. And we can give him suggestions on how we can help y'all. How about that? Okay, how about that?
Walk for justice.
All right, y'all.
Walk for justice.
All right, get y'all. Oh, before we go, I'm sorry. Did you want to mention who your father?
That's my father died.
Support.
Yeah, basically my friend Rakita Lanier, she invited me to come out here. Yeah, she invited me to come out here. I remember Rakita from when I was at FAMU.
Okay.
And I have a nonprofit actually helping out homeless. It's called Detroit Loves Love. And at one of my lowest points, I was actually homeless when I was in college, man, for about 2 months. I remember Rakita just, cooking for me, and I didn't have anything. So when I told her, what I was doing as far as trying to be a community activist and whatnot, I'm in the Brightmoor Alliance. That's it. Thank you.
All right, look at that connection today.
So we definitely don't link up. I'm part of the Plainview block group.
Dig it.
So I'm out here just trying to support and just spread my causes as well. But I remember Rakita when she helped me when I was low, and she told me about that, and I had to come out here.
We welcome you and welcome to the Walk of Justice. We need you, brother.
Brandon Wilson.
Brandon Wilson. All right.
We got Brandon.
Did we get the same?
Yeah, I got all that.
All right,
All right, y'all, we can line up. Go ahead and get this walk. We just walk.
Awesome product right here in Michigan. The company called Total Life Changes. I would like to these products. We have
I'll word up, and that's what we started.
Let them know.
Y'all got Facebook pages?
Just trying to get other people that got the same mindset. Like I said, I don't have the block, so I just shoot you whatever. Yeah, let you know everything that's happening. It starts Monday. That's one thing. And then another thing that's going on in the community is basketball camps. Detroit Pistons actually going to the neighborhoods and going to the parks and having camps.
That's word, because I got coaches.
Yeah.
Okay. Me and my people, I played with ABA. That's from my other side. I've been working like 6 months on this paper, if not a little bit longer, and I just finished, right? So I'm just waiting on the letter of determination for the 501c3. So everybody could be underneath, y'all get benefit from the tax process if we all conjoin. Right? And the IRS, they want us to conjoin because that's less approvals that they have to give out Exactly.
So it's dealing with these individuals.
Exactly. So now I got one umbrella, and anybody you mess up, I'm coming for you. So that's good. That's the checks and balances, right? Okay. So we'll have all that going, and then it's all love. This is one of the dopest young brothers I've ever met in my life. Dr. Ross. Dr. Ross.
Good, bro. Nice to meet you, man.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I'm just living. He said, I'm just living.
Dopest, dog. But you know,
No!
Of course, that's the part I miss.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
Of course, that's the part I miss.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? Everybody, thanks for your support. Passing on. Let's let the next march be bigger.
Yeah. And fundraising. We're about to start.
There's power. There's power in numbers.
We got to make change, y'all. We got to make change. Young folks did it in the 50s.
And you two brothers, I love y'all. Oh my God.
Call me the teen.
Oh my God.
This is my teenager, me 13 years old.
Go way back. Go
And come family. Yeah. And we still out here fighting. We still out here fighting. Thank you. We ran the kids. We was running with Kizzy. Yeah, that's Tammy, y'all. And him and his brother. Y'all done? Okay, thank y'all. All right, yes, it's about to pour down. Sheila. Woo, yes. It did.